be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers may not address zoning matters which are pending before the ZBA, zoning committee, or the county board. Personnel matters or pending or threatened litigation may not be addressed in open session. An individual may speak a maximum of 3 times per calendar year on the same topic. This prohibition shall include the repetition of the same topic in a statement on what is purported to be a different topic. Personal attacks or inappropriate language of any sort will not be tolerated. Our first speaker is Reverend Earl Dotson, Sr.
The Bible. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching unto those things which lie before, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. No one can exhaust the possibilities of creation and the living power of God, which will reduce human pride, greed, arrogance, etc., to open the way for divine recreation. Such a shock dismisses with the notion that rationalizes the status quo. America is being called upon to wake up and face the dangerous challenge and threat Communist China poses for the American economy and its very existence. Communist China is a menace that cannot be overlooked. As America's military, its intelligence community, especially the FBI, have warned. I am glad to say again that as co-chairperson for the Ministers for Manufacturing out of Chicago, legislation we have been touting for years emphasizing advanced manufacturing and semiconductors and the industrial might of America soon will become a law because President Biden has promised to sign it once the House passes it, to the tune of some $54 billion, which is part of a $280 billion is soon to be passed. Our local organization affiliated with Ministers for Manufacturing will press for some hundreds of millions of dollars by reopening church school for advanced manufacturing, simultaneously unleashing what researchers at Massachusetts Institute of Technology call lost Einsteins. These black lost Einsteins will upset the status quo in a positive manner, benefiting the Commonwealth, especially America's national security, with innovation. Such innovation will demonstrate the truth of the inexhaustible possibilities of God mentioned in the Bible. Get ready for the shock, Robert, because we'll be dealing with the United States industrial might, its technology, and its military might. I close with these words from the Black National Anthem. Stony the road, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever in the path, we pray, lest our weary feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
Thank you. Next speaker is Nancy Edwardson.
Hello. Good evening. Some of you look so familiar. Nice to see your faces. I haven't been here for a little over 3 years. The last time I was here was for our sheriff's budget hearing. That's the last real board meeting I've been to. And it's nice to see your faces. And you know, I'm just real concerned about an issue, and it has to do with the election department and the vital records. It's been going on for years, off and on. I guess you can call me a little bit of a snoop. I'm a little bit of a snoop. I have an investigative mentality, and I've been doing it for 15 years in Winnebago County before I ran for county clerk. Something that was my passion. I don't think it's fair to the taxpayers in this county, and I really mean this specifically towards the election and vital records department, when no one wants to answer the phone. I've been doing it, I do it 3 or 4 times a week. I check up, and Miss Gumow knows how I am. She knows that I keep an eye on things. And I think it's terrible. I don't like the performance evaluation that I would give the county clerk's office right now would be a 65 being a D. Because, you know, people, it's not fair to the taxpayers when you call and you need something, and I usually do. I've been doing this for 17 years. It's just not fair. Nobody answers the phones. And then you say, well, okay, but they can't do it. They're too busy on the computer. Oh, da, 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 da. Or, you know, I understand that they have other activities, duties rather, not activities, but duties that they have to perform in the context of the county clerk's office. I understand all that. I ran for that office. But it's not fair, and it just behooves me to say it. It saddens me terribly. And I hope the county board can listen to me tonight and be on my side with this and pick up the pace, you know. And the chairman has been so gracious. The chairman has been so gracious to address this for me. And I know it can be better. It can improve. Get a real person to answer the phone. A real person, you know. We're not robots. We're human beings. And I just appreciate your time, and I hope we can improve the department. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on to the approval of minutes. Can I entertain a motion to approve the minutes of June 23rd, 2022, and layover of the July 14th, 2022 minutes? Mr. Westcott motions, Mr. Lindmark seconds that motion. Is there any discussion on those minutes? Very good. Are there any board members opposed to that motion to approve and lay over? All right, seeing none, please cast a yes for all members present. Thank you. Number 7 is the consent agenda, which includes the raffle report and the auditor's report. Can I entertain a motion to approve? Moved by Ms. Red, second by Ms. Gorel. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda this evening? Hearing none, are there any board members opposed to the approval of the consent agenda? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Number 8 are the appointments. We have no appointments to bring forward tonight. 9 is the reports of standing committees. Mr. Salgado.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance has 2 items tonight. The first one is ordinance approval of budget amendment for the Health Department IDPH COVID-19 grant. This is to be laid over, but I'd like to suspend the rules and vote on this today.
Move to suspend the rules by Mr. Salgado, second by Ms. Gorel. Are there any board members opposed to that suspension? Hearing none, please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Salgado.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'd like to move and approve the ordinance for the approval of budget amendment for the Health Department IDPH COVID-19 grant.
Very good. Moved by Mr. Salgado, second by Ms. Gorel. Is there any discussion, Mr. Salgado?
No, this is just a straight-up grant.
Any board member discussion? Very good. Are there any board members opposed to this ordinance? Hearing none, please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Salgado.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next item is ordinance for approval of budget amendment for ARP Phase 3 Public Safety Initiative. This is to be laid over. And so I would ordinarily try to suspend the rules and vote on this, but since there's been a change in the dollar amount and the split up, I want to give time for anyone that might have questions from the county board, unless anyone wants to suspend the rules and vote on this tonight.
Very good. Doesn't seem like it. Okay.
All right, so that concludes our report.
Thank you, Mr. Salgado.
Thank you.
Zoning Committee, Mr. Webster.
Oh, committee.
Thank you, Mr. Webster. Economic Development Committee, Ms. Red.
Thank you, Chairman. We have two resolutions. The first resolution is a resolution allocating $5 million of host fee funds over a 5-year period to the Winnebago County Highway Department for capital improvement, public infrastructure needs. Can I get a motion?
Moved by Ms. Red, second by Mr. Tassoni. Discussion. Any discussion? Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to all the members of the board. Thank you to the administration and all the staff that helped devise this monies to go to the highway for road and bridge funds, and just thank you to everybody for their support.
Thank you, Mr. Tassoni. Mr. Salgado.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I believe Carlos gave everybody a copy of this. So I did ask, what that $1 million each year would come for, what kind of projects, what are the priorities, just so everybody's aware. And so essentially that list on the back, I guess, is of all the different projects that are out there. From this list is where Carlos and his team are going to use the funds for that. So I do appreciate Mr. Molina for providing this. It gives a little bit more clarity where that money's going to go and what projects are going to be used for that $5 million overall.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Salgado. Any other discussion? Ms. Goro.
The only thing I can say is about time. This should have been done a long time ago. And if you read that where it totals of what the costs are, what the county share is $16,600,000. Then you see shared by others of $41 million. That's how much. If you look at that, you can see how much money we have been missing all these years that we have not done what we're doing right now. So I'm real proud that I pray this will go through today. It's something that's been needed for a long time, and it needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Goro. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Ms. Red.
Thank you, Chairman. Our next resolution is a resolution approving the American Rescue Plan funds for economic impact programs for the Chairman's Initiative Group 1 projects. And I so move.
Moved by Ms. Red, second by Ms. Fellers. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Okay, very good. Are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Ms. Red.
That concludes our report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Red. Next, we have Operations and Administrative Committee. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This evening, we've got, the first item is a resolution to appoint precinct election judges, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. McDonald, second by Ms. Red. Any discussion, Mr. McDonald? Nope. From the chair, is there any board member discussion? All right. Are there any board members opposed to this resolution to approve it? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is a resolution authorizing the chairman of the county board to execute a First Amendment to the Intergovernmental Agreement for Information Technology Support Services within Region 1 Planning Council, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. Lindmark. Is there any board member discussion? Very good. Hearing none, are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Thank you. Please cast the yes for all members present. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is a resolution awarding bids for window cleaning services, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. Neighbors. Any discussion? Item number 4, resolution. Are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Very good. Please cast yes for all members present. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next resolution amending the organizational structure of the County Board of the County of Winnebago, Illinois, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. Arena. Is there any discussion? Are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is a resolution amending the County Administrator Employment Agreement between the County of Winnebago, Illinois, and Patrick J. Thompson, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. McDonald, second by Mr. Webster. Is there any discussion? All right. Are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next item is an ordinance to be laid over. I will read it in. It's ordinance amending Section 2-49, duties of the County Board Chairman, and 2-124, duties of the County Administrator of the County of Winnebago County Code of Ordinances. And again, that's to be laid over.
Very good. That ordinance will be laid over. Thank you, Mr. McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Move on to Public Works. Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members. We have, 6 resolutions tonight. Our first item would be a resolution 22-023. It's a resolution authorizing the award of a bid for resurfacing of North Lyford Road from Road to Spring Creek. These are just pass-through funds to Rockford Township, no cost to the county, and I would so move.
Moved by Mr. Tassoni, second by Mr. McCarthy. Any discussion? All right. Are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Very good. Yes for all members present. Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next item is Resolution 22-024. It's a resolution authorizing the execution of a local public agency engineering services agreement with Arc Design Resources, Inc. for the design of intersection improvements at Guilford Road and Bell School Road, and for appropriating local motor fuel tax funds for the work, and I would so move.
Move to approve by Mr. Tassoni, second by Mr. McCarthy. Any discussion? Very good. Are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next item is Resolution 22-025, and it's a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the County of Winnebago, the City of South Beloit, and the villages of Roscoe, Rockton, and Cherry Valley for the administration of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Grant Funds. Once again, no cost to the county. This is pass-through funds from a grant we received, and I would so move.
Moved by Mr. Tassoni, second by Mr. Lindmark. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Chairman. Next item, Resolution 22-026 is an award of a bid for Mulford Road resurfacing and appropriating RBI funds. I would so move.
Moved by Mr. Tassoni, second by Mr. Girl. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. McCarthy.
Yes, just one question. Mr. Tassoni, do you know when these, when the resurfacing will take place, or maybe Carlos would be able to answer that?
I mean, the best that I heard, Mr. Carlos can speak to it, but I believe it's soon. It's this construction season.
Mr. Carlos.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Mr. McCarty. Actually, this project was not in our fiscal year 2022 list of projects. So this is supposed to start. It has to start after October 1st. It's in the 2023 budget, and the reason why we want to do it this year is because, as you know, it's in pretty bad shape, and we don't want to go another winter, with the condition of the road as is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Very good. Are there any board members opposed to this award of bid? All right, hearing none, please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next item It's Resolution 22-027. It's an award of bid for Prairie Hill Road resurfacing and for appropriating RBI funds, and I would so move.
Moved by Mr. Sassoni, second by Mr. Gurl. Any discussion? Mr. Webster.
Need some time so it doesn't come up again. Carlos, could you please tell us the approximate start date for number 6 and number 7?
This project wasn't this year's budget, so it will start as soon as we get contract signed. So I suspect in another month or so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Are there any board members opposed to this award of bid? Very good. Please cast yes for all members present. Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next item is Resolution 22-028. It's a award of bid for Charles Street resurfacing and for appropriating RBI funds as well, and I would so move.
Moved by Mr. Tassoni, second by Mr. Neighbors. Board member discussion? Very good. Are there any board members opposed to this award of bid? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Chairman. Our final resolution is...
Did you have a question?
Mr. Webster asked Carlos to give a start date for
Mr. Carlos Molina.
Is it about the start of construction? Same thing. This is in this year's budget, so it will start in about a month or so.
Very good. Is that good, Mr. Neighbors? Perfect. Mr. Tassoni.
Thank you, Chairman. Our next and final item is Resolution 22-029. It's a resolution awarding quotes for supplying electric for traffic signals and highway lighting. I would move and speak to it as well.
Moved by Mr. Tassoni, second by Mr. McCarthy. Mr. Tassoni.
Yeah, this is for electricity for some traffic signals, general lighting, the highway department, and 5 small outbuildings the highway department has. And this, the bids were open today, and it will be in full effect once approved by here.
Very good. Mr. Molina, do you have anything to add to that, or? I know you gave out packets.
Right. The reason why you only got the actual final packet today is because quotes for electrical service, they're only good for 24 hours. So we got the bids today, and then we included in the resolution and the packet that I gave you today, the 3 low bidders or vendors. Now this electrical rates will not go into effect until next year. Sometime in the summer of next year. And the reason why we're doing it now is because rates are going up. So if we do it now, we guarantee a lower rate. And, if you do approve it, it's for a 3-year period.
Thank you, Mr. Molina. Any other discussion? Are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Very good. Please cast the yes for all members present. Mr. Tassoni.
That concludes our report. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Tassoni. And Mr. Tassoni, thank you for all the work you did on that resolution previously. Thank you. All right. The Public Safety and Judiciary Committee, Mr. Gurl.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public Safety Judiciary has one resolution this evening, and it's a resolution approving intergovernmental agreement between the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office and other municipalities within the County of Winnebago for major crash assistance team, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Gurl, second by Mr. Lindmark. Any discussion? None? Are there any board members opposed to this resolution? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Mr. Gurl.
Thank you, Chairman. That concludes our report.
Thank you, Mr. Gurl. All right, unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Mr. Webster.
Sort of unfinished. I haven't thanked my colleague and friend Prescott often enough. I think most of you know that Fred makes these plaques. He does this on his own time, no charge, for all veterans. So I asked him to make one for my niece who's in the Coast Guard. So he did this one actually it's more work than most people do because of the seal of the posting. So there's a lot of detail work involved in this. So once again, Fred, I thank you for doing what you do. I greatly thank you for this.
Very good. Unfinished business. Mr. McCarthy.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to bring to the attention of the county board. I know others here have been affected too, such as Ms. Crosby, Ms. Earl, concerning the Rock River disposal fee of $250. It was initiated by them with little notice to those subscribers to their service, and it was just this past week, we received a number of calls inundated. I know I have, and also emails as well. Ms. Crosby, Mr. Girl, maybe some of your others might have received this. So anyhow, we were able to resolve it. Chairman was able to make a meeting with the company, and I attended, and we were able to save those subscribing to the service $75. So it was originally $250, and it was reduced. We were able to get it down to $175. In addition, they will also be providing a tote, a 95-gallon tote, I believe, to all of their subscribers for the yard waste, is what I'm speaking of. So I think it was a well-put effort on behalf of us and also the company as well, and partnering with them, and also for the future. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Any other unfinished business? We'll move on to new business. We do have a resolution declaring the vacancy in the office of the Winnebago County Coroner. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution? Mr. Yeah. Yep. So we have a motion and a second by Mr. Neighbors, but we do need to suspend the rules on that. So, Mr. Arena, motions to suspend, second by Mr. Neighbors. Are there any board members opposed to the suspension of rules on this resolution? Hearing none, please cast a yes for all members present to suspend the rules. Mr. Arena, motions to approve the resolution, second by Mr. Neighbors. Is there any discussion on the resolution declaring the vacancy of the coroner's office? Very good. Are there any board members opposed to declaring that vacancy? Very good. Please cast a yes for all members present. Thank you. Announcements and communications. Clerk?
The items listed below were received as correspondence.
Okay. Communications by staff members? Board members, communications. Any further communications? Before you know, Mr. Webster. Mr. Webster motions to adjournment. Are there any board members opposed to adjourning? Please cast